the surf, the sand, the lacrosse sticks. The 2023 World Lacrosse Championships from San Diego, California wrap up the final day of pool play. England and Canada. The keepers meet Dylan Ward and Will Baxter, and the teams go to their respective sides ready to go. Cooper Perkins, Teddy Jenner with you. We thank you for spending your Monday night with us. Teddy, both of these teams trying to take steps in certain directions before their playoff matchups that are already set. For Canada, they have a bye into the quarterfinals. For England, they will play Puerto Rico. But a big opportunity. You know, it's more than a scrimmage. The game means a lot, particularly for pride. If you're England, you're looking to show something. For Canada, you want to really put on a show that you haven't to this point.
Yeah, I talked with head coach Matt Brown before the game, and he said, we just got to continue to get better through the boxes, in our own zone, just be a little more team competitive. And I'm excited to see what they bring here tonight. Again, like you said, a mean-nothing game, but for both these teams, you can't have a lack of effort because of big games that are coming down the line.
One other area that Matt Brown was pleased with last night was the return of that guy, Jake Withers, that he steadied their presence at the face-off X. Wasn't dominant. It's 11 out of 18, but still enough to help them beat the Haudenosaunee.
Daniel Madelli is an expert face-off man himself for Team England, so it will be a challenge for both Jake Withers and Justin Inacio, whoever go up against him.
England trots on for the first possession wearing the red tonight. Canada in the white. Goldsmith, Daniel Watson, Christian Scarpello, their starting attack. Nick DiCaprio, Sam Dexter, and the captain, Tim Collins, round out their starting midfield on offense. Casey Wilson draws the defensive assignment on Collins. Rylan Reese is their long stick midfielder. Latrell Harris, the other short stick defensive midfielder. Their close D, Patrick Shumate, Brody Merrill, and Graham Hossack, who is having a dynamite World Championship tournament. Top 7 in caused turnovers, had 2 more big ones last night. Collins racing down the alley, moving it around to X and reversing field for England, who scored just 1 goal last night against the United States of America. For their head coach, Pat Scarpello, he just wants to see them be more patient and actually initiate the sets that they have planned. Instances like this where they struggle to move the ball have been far too common for his liking.
It'll be interesting to see how the English attack really takes on this Canadian defense, because the Canadians are known for being physical and aggressive. Can the English find secondary passes and skip feeds to take advantage of the over-aggressive Canadians?
Back around the perimeter, Dexter moves the ball for Collins. And a Manchester, England played domestically in the United States. Scarpello off a face dodge. Nice recovery by Patrick Shumate to push him aside. Scarpello off a brief double team from Wilson. Meanders his way to X. Almost 2 minutes into the game, and a stall warning in effect on the English team.
You don't usually see that. And that was, again, one of the things that Matt Brown talked about. He said, you know what, I think they're going to try to just take the air out of the ball here tonight. Every time they get possession, just try to kill as much time as they can. And they're already 3 minutes on offensive possessions here.
Yeah, of course, there is no shot clock in the international field game. So this is, by all means, a strategy that is valid. England wanting to take the air out, be very deliberate and methodical in their possessions. Scarpello rolls back, turned aside by Latrell Harris, and now allows DiCaprio to move it to Watson. Scored against the Haudenosaunee on Friday, his first goal of the tournament. Draws Brody Merrill, who is in his 4th World Championship tournament. 5th, I should say, excuse me. The elder statesmen on this defense have to imagine this is the last hurrah for Merrill, trying to finish with a gold medal. John Goldsmith hums it high and wide. He is probably the most dangerous piece of England's offense.
Yeah, he's out of University of North Carolina, scored 33 points this year, had 4 goals against Matt Brown's Denver team. So Brown very familiar with Goldsmith and what he can do. But just 3 goals, 6 points here in the tournament so far. They need to get him going. And I would love to see the English just be a little more selfish. Take some of those one opportunities. You got to start throwing everything at the net to get some confidence within your group.
You mentioned just 3 goals. That is 30% of England's total. Only 10 goals in the tournament. Nice ride by Goldsmith, who touches it out of bounds and allows Canada to take over possession. But this is an England team that's going to fight. Don't make the mistake that Canada, being one of the 2 favorites in this tournament, they're going to roll over. That is by no means what Pat Scarpello's group is about.
this team will fight to the bitter end. We saw them against the Americans. Even though they were shut out for the majority of that game, they never stopped. They continued battled for every loose ball, every possession, and that's what you want to see out of this club, especially in a game like this. Let's see if they can put Canada in a bit of a scary position.
First possession on offense for Canada. The dynamic duo of Josh Byrne and Dane Smith up top.
They're pretty good.
Merrill will sub out. Yeah, I think they've won a thing or two.
They're pretty good.
Starting to attack, Curtis Dixon, Ryan Lee, and Jeff Teat. Around the perimeter, Byrne has been a nice piece of this offense. Scored a couple times against the U.S. in their opener. Had his hands free for a moment. Good recovery there by Jack Wawrzyniak. And now Smith will move things back to his Buffalo Bandits teammate in the NLL, one of the most dynamic duos in the pro indoor game. Now Teat, who by all accounts is the initiator on this offense, but has been quieter than expected to this point. Smith muscling his way in, finds space and scores. He's known as an athlete with great vision, but I think people forget about just how much strength Dane Smith has in his game as well.
Yeah, we've seen Audie Stotts really back his man down and use his size to create space. And this is exactly what Dane Smith does. Just get his defender on the back foot, a little push-off like you do in basketball to create space for that shooter, and then Dane sets his feet and goes low past Will Baxter, and that's just the second goal in this tournament for Dane Smith. He is such a prolific distributor. He often gets the short stick matchup. I think Matt Brown and their offensive coaching staff would like to see him initiate more, get those slides for guys cutting backside. That time, he was able to do it all on his own, but as this game goes on, look for Dane to keep his eyes up and find guys through lanes.
England called for the illegal procedure, gives Canada the ball. Final thought on Smith. You know, he's a late adopter to the field game. So methodical, and you can see him starting to get comfortable. More possessions like what we just saw will come from him with time.
Yeah, he didn't play field really growing up, and when they brought him into this national team, they're like, hey, you know what? We understand you don't have a lot of field experience, but let's just let you be an athlete. And through the boxes, midfield and defensively, he is incredible between the lines.
He is just an electric player. Connor Fields has his stick slapped away by the long pole of Eric Coburn, and England, off a takeaway check, can move transition.
That was a nice check by Coburn. You don't see Connor Fields dispossessed of the twig that easily. And this time it was just good pressure out on hands. And again, we talked about offensively, England kind of pushing the tempo. I'd love to see them do that defensively as well. Not only will it get the Canadians into the game faster, but it will allow the English to maybe upset the offense as well.
We expected to see England run a lot more yesterday than they did. One moment stood out where they called a timeout in transition on a fast break with the long stick midfielder bringing it up the field. Back to Scarpello, he told me before the game, we want to push. We just want to really value our possession. So there's a balance to be had.
Yeah, and I think that just goes with understanding where you are as a team and the balance that you're going to have in a lengthy tournament like this. You got to ride the ebbs and flows and be hitting your peak once you get into the playoff championship bracket.
Daniel Watson moves it over to Sean Goldsmith. Started his career at Mercer. Online fame for his glasses. Draws a flag after being dispossessed by Graham Hosick, and the men in red will head to the man up. When we come back, Canada out to an early 1-0 lead in the final game of Pool A. Stick with us. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship Tournament.
Amazing.
Early lead for Canada as you get a peek at Dyson Williams, one of the most electric young players in the game. And a big piece of what Canada's trying to do offensively. He had a breakout performance against Australia, and that's something that they're going to need to get down the stretch of the tournament.
Yeah, Matt Brown told us before the Haudenosaunee game that they're really trying to give Dyson a bit of a different look than what he's used to at Duke, and he's reveled in that challenge. He's not carrying the ball as much. He's being more of an off-ball guy, and a guy that's come from a box background in Whitby. He understands what it means to play off the ball, and he's had past 2 games have been fantastic. 5 goals in his past couple of contests. He walked the Canadian flag into the stadium 2 nights ago, and with his parents here in town playing for his brother Tucker, this is an incredible experience for young Dyson Williams.
Ward with the stop on Goldsmith. And if Canada can clear the ball, which they do not, they will return to the man down.
Good pressure by Sean Goldsmith to cause the turnover.
Here's Goldsmith's shot, goes wide on the outside of the cage. And now Canada can kill out the rest of the penalty with a successful clear. They'll do more than that. Challen Rogers pushing transition on a fast break. Rogers to the cup. And a save by Baxter.
Nice outlet pass from Dylan Ward. Challen Rogers, one of the best two-way players in the world. He's a two-time NLL Transition Player of the Year. That time tried to put the bounce shot past Baxter. But Baxter equal to the task, keeping this a one-goal game.
Yeah, Challen moved up to play a little bit more offense for the Toronto Rock this past season in the NLL. Just showing that versatile skill set that not just he, but so many of these Canadian players have, particularly out of the back end, right, where you got guys who are used to playing with short sticks.
Yeah, Hossack's won 3 NLL Defenders of the Year award. Latrell Harris and Brody Merrill each have 1. And then you have a ton of guys who are Transition Players of the Year. Brody with 3, Challen Rogers and Zach Curry have won the last 4. So put these guys with a short stick, they're incredible, but playing long stick, they're equally as dangerous.
Goldsmith, defended by Latrell Harris, one of the better defenders in the NLL. And he is showing every bit of the footwork that's made him a star. Quick movement inside to Scarpello, can't handle the pass. Loose on the turf, collected by Collins. Played his college ball at Mount Olive here in the U.S. Canada out to an early lead thanks to Dane Smith with his second goal of the tournament. But England not making things easy. Kept the U.S. in check for most of the first quarter yesterday before things snowballed out of control in the second with 6 American goals. Split dodge to the middle, and Harris bodies up on DiCaprio. Back around the perimeter. Collins racing towards the goal line. Scores! Tim Collins ties the game by stinging the top left corner on Dylan Ward. It's 1-0 midway through the first.
His 3rd of the tournament. That's what we're talking about, Cooper. Take the opportunity when it's there. Watch Tim Collins off the swing, gets underneath Brody Merrill, his defenseman. Check that. That's number 20, Cam Wires. And he gets underneath him, gets his hands free, and is able to actually switch hands, come back to the inside angle, able to reach over Dylan Ward, which isn't easy, as Ward standing 6'5" in those pipes, 6'7" with the sweatpants. And it was just an excellently placed shot to tie this game up 1. And those are the opportunities the English have to take.
Pat Scarpello has to look unhappily as his English squad scores in the first quarter. They were held scoreless yesterday for 55 minutes and 47 seconds of game time. Lost to the U.S. 18-1 in a dominating performance by the Americans. Big reason why was the possession battle, just so lopsided. Canada in white back into their offense. Clark Peterson gets his first touch. Back around to Jeff Teat. Now Josh Byrne defended by Tom Hallam, the long stick midfielder. Dane Smith proven to be dangerous from up top. Shakes and bakes. Smith feeds in tight. Lee tucks it in the bottom corner.
We just talked about what Dane Smith can do one-on-one, manned up by a short stick. I know you have to pick your poison, but if you're going to put a short stick on Dane Smith, you better have slide help coming. Absolutely breaks the ankles of his defender. The slide comes a little late. He's able to flip it to Ryan Lee, who gets that shot off with contact and able to beat Baxter far side. Again, a tough save for Baxter going against the grain as Lee puts it far side. But that, again, perfect execution of a Canadian two-man game, learned so well, hours and hours inside the box.
And that's something that Matt Brown was saying he wants to see more of. We're Canadians. We move away from the ball. We have to do more of that. Ryan Lee executing exactly what his head coach is hoping to witness tonight. But England, a face-off win gives them a chance to potentially pull even before the end of the first. Thought on the Ryan Lee goal. How great is it to see him out on the field, 13 months removed from an ACL injury, looking like the same healthy player he was before going down?
Yeah, got hurt in Game 2 of the NLL playoffs last year, missed the Mammoth Championship run, but was part of their run this year to the finals against Buffalo. And man, when he is playing, he is one of the most dynamic players. Whether he's driving underneath, whether he's letting go an outside laser, he just is so dynamic inside out. It's hard to get a gauge on how you want to match up with a guy like Ryan.
I got help, need one.
Dodge from Hugo Peel, the 17-year-old midfielder for England. Part of the youth movement that Pat Scarpello has initiated. And Peel is a player they really love, and you can understand why, competing at this level at that young age. Behind the net, Watson. Up top for Goldsmith, who they bring to the midfield. Dexter, defended by Wilson. Gets a pick from Scarpello. Play a two-man game and a switch as Dexter throws it away in a loose ball with Patrick Shumay in hot pursuit for Canada. He's got numbers. The Canadians on the move again. Shumay. Stopped by Baxter.
You might have gone crazy if you scored that. You might have actually gone crazy if one of your San Diego Seals defenders scored a goal.
Teddy, it is the pool play. Patrick Shumay only scores goals in the playoffs.
True.
Tomorrow, or the day after, when Canada's back in action in the quarters.
But this is just a great play by Shumay. Battles a loose ball along the side, outlegs his attackman to find that, pushes in transition, and any long pull that gets inside the box, dead in front of the net, is going to take that shot. Good look from Shumay and the Canadians in transition. One area, again, that Taylor Ray, the defensive coordinator, wanted to see them improve is take some chances in transition, really push the field.
On the 10-man ride, Baxter just takes a heave, but a nice heady play by Wires to cut it off. England did struggle on the clear yesterday. That was a different look from Canada. We haven't seen the 10-man ride much.
Yeah, I think the Canadian defensive group really saw how England struggled against the Americans. So throw a different look at it, but also for the Canadians, a chance to practice their 10-man ride.
I was talking to my partner Nick Ocello yesterday, and he made the point for the U.S. They're trying to put a lot of things on film, make it tough for Canada and the Haudenosaunee to prepare for. Same thing goes for Canada. Put things on film, make it tough for the opponent. Meanwhile, they add one more. Canada up 3-1 thanks to Ryan Lee's second.
Yeah, a laser from Leeser. We talked about how he's so good getting underneath and diving across the crease. Well, again, in transition, Canada pushing with numbers. Watch the cut from Peterson right through the middle, draws the help, takes the defense away, and then a great feed back across the grain to Ryan Lee, who sets his feet and fires it hard past Baxter. And that's all set up by the run through the middle of Clark Peterson to draw the defense, which opens up the lane for Ryan Lee.
Fifth of the tournament for the Ontario-born Ryan Lee. One of 3 Rochester Institute of Technology alums on the Canadian roster, more than any other American university. So the field presence in NCAA Division III very strong on this Canadian roster.
I forgot to yell RIT goal after the 2 Ryan Lees.
Gold Tigers.
The Gold Tigers, they are, we talked about last night, a powerhouse in Division III. In the last few years, they've made long runs to national championships, and it's so good to see the alumni, whenever they get together, they're always proud of their own, and we know everybody in upstate New York and RIT is cheering for Ryan Lee and the rest of the fellas who are RIT boys, including Patrick Shumay.
Final look for England, just trying to get one away, and Collins wipes out, ending the first quarter. Couple of Ryan Lee goals have Canada out front on England 3-1. They're trying to flash the chemistry that's been in development, and it's on display so far. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. Stick with us for the final game of Pool A play between Canada and England. The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. After 15 minutes, Canada up 3-1 on England, and the youth movement is on for the men in red from England today. You see Hugo Peel on your screen, just 17 years old, but also comes from an area with quite the lacrosse lineage. He's not just young, he has it in his blood.
Yeah, Kale Green Stockport out there in the United Kingdom. It's the oldest lacrosse club possibly in the world, even older than the New Westminster Sandbell. It was founded in 1875, and a former couple college teammates of mine, Owen Jones and Paul Fullerton, come from that area, and they say that Hugo is such an incredible young talent. He puts in the time away on the field. He does a lot of work with the community. And even his sister is a U15 player who might have a better future than Hugo, but there's a handful of Stockport guys on this team that really come from a great club system back there in England. So shout out to everybody in England watching this game back home. We know you're cheering on your red and white Lions, and this should be a great second quarter. So Stockport, England represent.
After Jake Withers jumps in the face-off, it is the Lions who will have possession. England in red, Canada in white in the finale of Pool A. Both teams already know their seeding. Canada is second, England is fifth. So for the Canadians, they will have a bye. England will play Puerto Rico tomorrow. Here's Peel wheeling it around. England, their one goal courtesy of Tim Collins, their captain. Canada, a couple courtesy of Ryan Lee. Also Dane Smith, who opened the game scoring. Latrell Harris defending. Probing Collins tries to invert on the short stick. Collins sudden in his dodge. Head up looking to pass. And England will move it around the perimeter. Now it's Peel, the 17-year-old. One of a couple of 17-year-olds making waves in this tournament. Stone Evans for Jamaica has been a superstar. And Goldsmith buries it on Ward.
This is a goal scorer's goal by Sean Goldsmith. We talked to him coming out of the University of North Carolina. Just watch him stay with the move, understanding that Wires has to go over top if he wants to recover. Tucks his stick, keeps his feet moving, gets top center, and time and room, he's able to beat Dylan Ward.
If you're Canada's defense there, where was the breakdown?
Yeah, I think within that communication, you just got to get one of the two defenders to step high side, not allowing Goldsmith to come around the top. You want to make sure you're forcing him back down the wing. So you got to get your stick top side of the field, turn him back, and just a little bit of miscommunication by the defenders.
Well, England capitalizes on the miscommunication. Daniel Madeley and Jake Withers to face. Withers a clean win, and Canada has a break right out of it. Withers stopped, Baxter. Justin Ignacio, I should say. Excuse me.
And that's something we haven't seen from the Canadians too much, is transition off of the draws. They're usually very settled and trying to pop it into their defensive zone. That time, Ignacio felt the pressure going backwards, so instead he moves it forward, and that's a great look for the former Ohio State draw man. And Ignacio is going to be a talent for years to come, and he's learning from one of the best, and not only Withers, but Jeff Snyder, who's a longtime member of this Canadian national program as well.
Another member of the Snyder family involved in the World Lacrosse Championship. Bob, the head coach of Team Hong Kong China, who beat Mexico today to clinch a spot in the playoffs, so they will play the Haudenosaunee tomorrow in the 3v14 matchup.
That will be an exciting game tomorrow. There are a few great matchups, including Jamaica and Italy, Ireland and Israel, a couple wonderful matchups that you're going to want to be watching for on ESPN Plus tomorrow.
Dexter squaring up at a Leeds Metropolitan, and in the UK, his shot bounces wide, backed up by Goldsmith. Of course, in field lacrosse, wherever the ball exits on a shot, whoever is closest at the time it exits is awarded possession. See Pat Scarpello, his first world championship as the head coach of Team England. Back behind the net. The English working, Pomfret bodying, pushed out by Latrell Harris. Dexter thought about a step down, but instead defers to the Michigan-educated Nick DiCaprio.
There's another program that's starting to come along in the NCAA. Everyone knows Kyle Jackson is a former Wolverine, but now we're starting to see more and more Michigan players on a high level, and Michigan's starting to be very competitive in Division I as well. You add a high-level lacrosse program into the Michigan plethora of sports in their lexicon, man, you're going to want a lot of kids going to be a Wolverine and play lacrosse.
Shot from Drew Bickerton, who has quite the connection to the World Championships. His grandfather, Hector, played in 4 of them.
The more you know.
Bickerton just starting to get some run. Has not been a big factor for England, but trying to mix up their lineup here a bit and try some new pieces in different places before the knockout stage starts tomorrow.
I think both teams will actually try to do that, especially for the Canadians. They haven't seen Zach Currier since the opening quarter of game one, so they're really relying on guys like Casey Wilson, Challen Rogers, and Latrell Harris, but putting guys in different positions, just see what's working, tinkering with the machine as they go along.
Goldsmith has one of the two English goals. Now back behind the net, Bickerton. Watson dodging, dispossessed for a moment, and Ward is there to swallow up the shot.
You're not going to beat Dylan Ward too many times on softballs like that from the outside. He's able to popcorn that one up to himself and start transition. Got to get the ball moving. We see it the NLL all the time. We see it when Ward plays for the Water Dogs in the PLL. When teams have success against him, it's on good ball movement and taking advantage of his aggressive arc.
Yeah, that high arc takes away a lot of shooting angles, but also makes him a little bit more vulnerable on the backside. A long way to go to recover. Canada, 3 goals, 2 from Ryan Lee, 1 from Dane Smith. Their offense trying to flash a little bit more chemistry. They were held to 8 by the Haudenosaunee last night in their thrilling escape of a victory.
They went on a 4-goal run only to see the Haudenosaunee go on a run of their own. And if it wasn't for the Ryland Reese slap check at the end, we could have had overtime.
Dyson Williams back for Connor Fields, coming off a great NLL season for the Rochester Nighthawks. Wesley Berg, always physical with his dodges, chased around by Sam Dexter and cannot connect with Jeff Teat. Trying to make things hard on Tommy Kirkland, but Teat touched it out of bounds, England ball.
Yeah, Kirkland's, this is his 3rd World Championship, played back in 2014 and 2018 out of Manchester. And when you're going up against a guy like Jeff Teat, sometimes you just got to stay in your lane. But when the opportunity arises, you got to be aggressive. And he was there, end up causing a turnover off Teat's stick. So a good shift there by Kirkland defensively.
England a chance to tie this game as we wind under 8 minutes to go until halftime. They've done a nice job being methodical in their possessions, valuing the ball and taking their time.
We've seen that a lot in this tournament with no shot clock. We've seen a lot of low-scoring games in the competitive games just because the ball possession is so valuable. You have to take 30, 40 seconds just to get into your offensive sets, and we're seeing 1.5, 2-minute possessions from some of these teams just trying to wear defenses down as this tournament goes on. And we saw in that Haudenosaunee-Australia game, it was close for most of that game. But late, the Haudenosaunee were able to find that extra boost of energy, and that's going to happen in these long trudges of games like this.
Peel, hounded by Wilson. England already has doubled up their scoring total from last night against the U.S. when they were beaten 18-1. Goldsmith patrolling. Up top, Peel, the 17-year-old, dodges to his left hand. Quick ball movement for England. Bickerton zigs his way out and moves the ball for Tim Collins. To your point on these long possessions, I was talking to Glenn Meredith, the head coach for Team Australia. He said they want their average possession to be between 1:10 and 1:30. That's just every possession they want to be that way. So these teams are really well aware of how to use the lack of a shot clock to their advantage and shorten up some of these games. England doing that well so far tonight.
You know, when you're in these long possessions, you're able to kind of work through the pick game and try to find some individual matchups that you want. And right here, they got a short stick Casey Wilson behind the net at X.
Tim Collins pushing the goal line extended. Goldsmith always a danger to shoot, but passing for Watson this time. And Ward, always with an active stick, comes up with it.
Yeah, again, a good possession by England, but nothing to show for it as he tried to force a pass in as Canada runs in transition.
Cam Wires for Jeff Teat, who always the highest IQ on the field, pulls things out and slows it down.
Yeah, he often seems like he's floating out there, and when he shoots, it's never as hard as he can. It's always with precision and accuracy, but he's just so level-headed, never too high, never too low, understands the situation so well.
Josh Byrne gets free, and Baxter scoops up a save. Canada in the white retains possession, however, after Clark Peterson tracked down the rebound. And England will have to make another stop if they're going to keep the score at 3-2. Smith off a fake for Byrne. High pass. Bobziniak comes out on him. Racing underneath. Byrne scores on the high bouncer.
You know what they say, Cooper? Bouncers will go. And an excellent split dodge here by Josh Byrne. Gets underneath his defender, is able to get his hands free, and this bouncer eludes Will Baxter, and Canada's doubled up the English.
Canada out to a 4-2 lead as the clock winds under 5 minutes to go in the second. Trying to finish out pool play on a high note. The Canadians doubling up the English. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship Tournament. Canada doubling up England, but the Lions hanging around late in the second quarter. Canadian offense starting to show some more flashes, but still there are pieces that are coming together. One very familiar face of Canadian national teams of old, Wesley Berg, is one guy that comes to mind. He's been playing a little bit more like a garbage man, looking for rebounds, but you seem to think he needs to have a more active role in the offense.
Yeah, he's one of the few forwards or middies and attackmen on this Canadian team that have yet to score. And Westberg is an incredible athlete. He has unbelievable size for a power forward with great hands. And much like we've seen Dane Smith use his athletic ability to create opportunities for himself, I really would like to see Westberg initiate more from the wing, especially if he's going to get those short stick matchups, get to the middle of the field and take some shots, because if he can start going, that's just another weapon, and Canada can really dominate those short stick matchups against anybody in the world.
Ignacio, back-to-back face-off wins for Canada. Good to see him have some success today after struggling to about 30% in the first 3 games of the tournament. For Jake Withers, who is their top face-off guy, was unavailable the first 2 games after graduating from firefighting school back home in Canada.
Yeah, and obviously Justin Ignacio coming off a pretty bad knee injury. This is his first real competition in over a year, and he was really indoctrined having to go against Baptiste and Erlin, 2 guys that he's very familiar with. But at the world stage, on an international level, the face-off rules are that much different, and so it was a bit of a learning curve for him. And now that Withers is back, he gets a few breaks, he can watch a little bit, he can take a few rests and watch some reps, and really figure out his strategy for the next draw. So I like the two-headed monster at the X for Canada.
Dyson Williams squaring up to dodge on Tom Bracegirdle. Williams underneath. Williams sticks it home for Canada, 5-2.
Looking like his old man, Sean Williams, power driving underneath. And again, most Canadians won't switch hands, and if they do, they're always going to come back to their dominant hand. And Dyson, a pure lefty, gets around 2 English defenders, keeps his feet moving, gets time and room, able to come back to a strong hand, and just a nice low-to-low finish. And for Dyson Williams, continues to put himself on the stage here, as that's goal number 5 in the tournament.
You mentioned his dad, Sean, an NLL Hall of Famer and currently the head coach and general manager of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs franchise. We saw him before the game. Sean is in attendance, taking in his son's games.
Yep. Sean's here with wife Tamara. They are an incredible family. Sean and I were teammates in Rochester in the early 2000s in the National Lacrosse League, and he won a gold medal with Canada in 2006 in London, Ontario. He has been around this program for quite some time, but guys like Jeff Teat and Dyson Williams have grown up around professional and international lacrosse, so it's no surprise to see them handling moments like these with such calm, composure, and patience, because they've been around it their entire life.
Yeah, you mentioned Jeff Teat, his dad Dan, a scout right now, spent some time as the offensive coordinator for the Panther City Lacrosse Club. Good ball movement for Canada. Here's Teat. Back-to-back Canadian goals have them up by 3. Williams, 2-man game with Westberg. Now it's Lee. Quick pass. Teat gets doubled, dispossessed by Eric Coburn, and gooses it over to Ryan Lee. Clock ticking towards 2 minutes left until halftime. Running clock until the final 30 seconds of quarters 1 through 3, and in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Westberg feeding backside. Teat automatic on the doorstep. And
that comes from Westberg initiating off of the wing. We just talked about it. Berg is so good on the split dodge, that power move across the top. You have to respect his shooting ability. And as soon as he gets past his first man, keeps his feet moving, no slide help. And then Jeff Teat just sitting on the backside, and that is going to be automatic. But again, if you're not scoring, you're not getting the goal production that you're used to, you still have to find a way to be effective. And for Westberg, if he's not going to take those shots, make it look like you're going to be the threat, and then find open guys.
Westberg, of course, a local favorite, playing for the San Diego Seals of the NLL for the last 3 seasons. In his first 100-point campaign this past year. 3 straight face-off wins for Justin Inacio. And Canada, firmly in control, can hold for the last possession if they so choose, with just over 65 seconds left in the first half.
It'll be interesting to see how much they use Jake Withers. If you just said they've run Inacio the last 3 or 4 draws here at the X, maybe they're just trying to get him in a bit of a rhythm, get him comfortable in these settings. Obviously, Wiz is their #1 guy, but I like that Matt Brown is sticking with the young kid, letting him get his reps and that confidence back.
We do see a lot of teams go with the hot hand if they have multiple face-off guys. The U.S. have done that with Trevor Baptiste and T.D. Erlin. Of course, Erlin, the most notable face-off performance of the tournament so far against the Haudenosaunee. Timeout called by Canada with 35 seconds left in the first half. We talked at the top of the broadcast about Canada wanting to flash the chemistry they're trying to develop. How far along in that process do they look in that direction to you tonight?
Yeah, they're getting closer, that's for sure. I still think they're tinkering with some things, you know. Who's going to be that first 3 out of the attack each and every game when it comes down to the crunch moments? I still think they're trying to figure that out. Is it going to be Dyson, or are they going to go with strong left with Dixon and Lee, or sorry, strong right with Dixon and Lee? So obviously Jeff Teat is going to be there. Their midfield game is starting to become a little more productive, and that's the Danes, the Challenge, the Latrells. You even have to throw in, like we just talked about, Westberg. So their defense is fine. From Dylan Ward to the front 5 guys with long poles and the LSMs, they're fine. I think they just need to shore up their midfield game, their box game, and try to find a way to create some more advantages with their speed and their one-on-one ability.
You look at them on paper, too, especially from that midfield position. You have to think as an opposing defensive coordinator, who do you put the pole on? You got Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Westberg, and other options coming out of the box. If they can just find the right formula, that's a matchup nightmare waiting to happen.
Well, exactly. We just talked about that. It's a pick your poison kind of thing. Canadians are used to playing defense against short sticks, so these guys will revel at that. When Dane Smith looks up and he sees a guy with a short stick in his hand, he's like, okay, this is great. He'll get more deterred if it's a long pole, but like you just said, who do you put the long poles on? Is it going to be Dixon, Lee, and Teat, or are you going to run some long poles against Berg and Smith and Clark Peterson? Pick your poison, and there's not an easy answer.
Smith, Peterson, and Byrne are the midfielders right now, with Teat, Lee, and Dixon the attack. They go to the 2-3-1. 20 seconds. Canada holding for the final possession. Lee as they initiate their attack. Around to Teat, up top for Peterson. Here they go. Byrne, cut from Peterson. It was there, but he didn't handle the pass and takes a shot.
I was surprised there wasn't a flag there on that hit on Clark Peterson, but the officials let it go. A very clean first half, not a lot of flags, very quick pace, but Canada starting to show their mettle here as they extend that lead late in the half.
Canada 6 goals by 5 different scorers, flashing a little bit of more balance than we've seen from them. Ryan Lee with a couple. Josh Byrne with 1 as the Canadians lead 6-2. Halftime coverage coming up after this. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship presented by Rady Children's Hospital. Start of the second half here at Torero Stadium. Canada by 4 on top of England in the last game of Pool A play. You see the Sharks of the Australian national team there. They will be back in action tomorrow as the bracket is set in the knockout round. Canada and the U.S. both get buys into the quarters. England will be back in action. So will the Sharks of Australia. A lot of really compelling matchups tomorrow that we're going to get to see.
Yeah, England, Puerto Rico, Japan, Germany. Australia, Netherlands, Italy, Jamaica, Haudenosaunee, Hong Kong, and Israel, Ireland are the opening games in the championship bracket. So a lot going on tomorrow. Those games will get underway at 1 o'clock. And then some of the lower bracket games will begin out at San Diego State University at 10.
Justin Inacio keeps his streak running. 4 straight face-off wins for Canada. They led 3-1 after the first, added another 3 in the second, as they have spread the scoring around. 5 different scorers on their 6 tallies.
Yeah, just looking down on the Canadian bench, obviously Dylan Ward has taken the second half. Also, Brett Dobson is in, but he's standing beside Jake Withers and Josh Courier, 2 guys who don't look like they're ready to go in anytime soon.
You don't expect to see either of them the rest of the way. Neither of them is particularly injured, or we should say. Meanwhile, Josh Byrne stings his second of the game, and Canada picks up right where they left off.
Coming right out of the gate, and this is an excellent one-on-one move by number 22, Josh Byrne. Again, initiating off the dodge. Canadian wing midfielders are having success against this English team. And then the old John Grant Jr., look low, shoot high, get the goalie dropping down. And Jeff T puts that one picture perfectly in the corner. Check that, Josh Byrne.
Yeah, Josh Byrne really was a superstar for Canada last summer on their Sixes team that won gold at the World Games. It's so fun watching him really come into his own as an elite player in the world. You know, it's just one piece of this Canadian team, but he does so many different things well.
Yeah, watching him growing up in New Westminster, playing for the Salmon Bellies Junior program, everybody knew he was going to be a star. And then he goes out east and plays at Hofstra, and he starts to put his name on the map. But it wasn't until he got to the NLL and the PLL where he took his game to a whole nother level and really started revolutionizing some of these acrobatic diving shots we see in the professional game, both indoors in the NLL and outdoors in the PLL. We all remember the shot that he took, jumping and throwing it between his legs, going video game mode. Like, this kid is a revolutionary style player, and the Canadians are so happy to have him in red and white.
Teat probes his way across goal line extended. Feeds for Byrne, could not handle the pass. Had his stick checked right upon arrival. But Canada takes it away, and Teat, ever the maestro, keeps his eyes up.
I often wonder what this English team would be like if they had Scarpello playing in his normal defensive midfielder position. They got him playing up front just to give them a little more offensive punch and firepower, but I wonder what it would be like if he was playing his natural position, taking some of these matchups.
Clark Peterson absolutely clobbered by Dan Smith, the top defender for England. Peterson's taken a couple of shots tonight. We talked about this in the USA broadcast yesterday. At a certain point, if you're Canada, you got to be careful, right? You can't be putting yourself in position to take those hits.
Yeah, and that's why they're giving Courier and Withers, some of these older guys that may be a little banged up, just some rest. But for the other guys that are on the field, you can't put yourself in those dangerous positions. Obviously, yes, Coach Brown wants his guys continually going to the front of the net, getting to those dangerous and high-scoring positions. But just always have your head up, know that the slide is coming, and it might be coming late.
Bickerton up to Dexter. Second appearance in the Men's World Championships for Sam Dexter. Plays a 2-man game with Hugo Peel and now just moves the ball ahead to Sean Goldsmith, one of the 2 gold scorers for Team England. Canada in control. Ever skilled and increasingly athletic. Dexter dodging on Challen Rogers, looking for help. Back behind the net for Watson. Almost 4 minutes gone in the third of the final game in Pool A. The U.S. has won the pool. On a perfect 4-0. They're off today and off tomorrow with a bye. Goldsmith met by Hasek. That's a matchup. Just a lumberjack of strength. And Goldsmith finds a way to score. The will of Sean Goldsmith pulls England back within 4.
What a solo effort from Sean Goldsmith from Jamestown, North Carolina, out of UNC. And he just stayed with it. You're going up against one of the best defenders in the world, maybe one of the best defenders ever. And he's able to keep control of his stick, the dexterity, the wrist strength. And he fights through the contact, keeps the glasses firmly planted on the face, and beats Dylan Ward for a second. That is a highlight reel goal from Sean Goldsmith.
The man with the specs, his second of the game.
I appreciate that. I wore glasses all through my youngster days, and it's not easy playing with glasses underneath the helmet.
At this point for him, it's as much of a trademark as anything. Sean Goldsmith without glasses is like Lacrosse without lines,
I was going to say without Nick Costello, yeah.
Quite the battle at the face-off X as Inacio tries to win his 5th in a row.
We haven't seen many of these long, drawn-out face-off battles.
Like a couple of wrestlers, low man trying to win. Just imagine the forearm strength. Two of them.
I don't have that. I do not have forearm strength to be able to stand there basically parallel to the ground, driving your wrist forward, but equal matching pressure coming the other way. It's like an arm wrestling match out there.
And England called for the hold, gives the ball to Canada, who is wearing the white tonight. The Sean Goldsmith goal pulls England back within 4. Wesley Berg, Connor Fields, Dyson Williams, the midfield right now for Canada. Jeff Teat, Curtis Dixon, and Ryan Lee, their attack.
Curtis Dixon trying to draw a flag off ball on number 4, Daniel Smith, on a backdoor cut. Officials letting him play here.
Williams racing underneath again. He scored like that in the first half. Now looking to move the ball. Ryan Lee steps into one, and Baxter swallows up the shot.
It's a nice save by Will Baxter. Met the shooter at the top of his crease, stood his ground, and Ryan Lee just couldn't get it on the turf soon enough to challenge Baxter, who was able just to gobble that one up.
The turf here at Torero Stadium a little bit quicker than some of the other surfaces around the tournament, particularly Snapdragon Stadium, where we will see the final. Christian Scarpello trots the ball into the box. They left him alone. Feeds. Backhanded attempt by Watson. Goes wide of the cage. But a great idea by Christian Scarpello. That takes us to our under 8 timeout as Canada up by 4. But England still fighting. Sean Goldsmith putting them back on the board in the second half. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship Tournament. Canada by 4 in the third quarter. And they're going to double team right out of this timeout. But England won't give them the chance as their head coach, Pat Scarpello, burns a timeout.
Yeah, it's kind of like in basketball. You come out of the timeout, you see what the defense is going to do, and then you automatically call a timeout and you redraw yourself up. Now the defense is probably going to do something different. But a nice look there from Taylor Ray, just sending out the extra man to cause a double team. Just see if you can cause some turnovers. Again, you talked about it. Just throwing a few different things on tape for these other teams to kind of get an idea of something you might do, but it might be something you never do again.
That's such an interesting balance between doing something creative and wasting time, right? If you're not going to do it again, you're trying to put something on film, but is it worth the energy to double team halfway through the third quarter up by 4?
Yeah, and but again, I think this is just Team Canada trying to work on some things. Again, as they work through the round robin of pool play, they've just been trying different looks. They've been trying both goaltenders. They've been trying multiple draw guys, and they've been trying some 6-man, some 10-mans, and different little things because you have to try to see what works and what doesn't. So this is a perfect opportunity for the Canadians really to quote-unquote practice some of the things they might not have been able to in the first 3 games.
The context is important here. That is not a disrespect to England in any way. This game just does not have any impact on the standings at all. Canada is the 2 seed and will have a bye. England is a 5 seed. They will play Puerto Rico. Nothing about this game will change those facts, but still plenty to play for, plenty of reason to play. And for Canada, as we saw just a moment ago, working on some new wrinkles and also giving an opportunity for their defense, guys like Graham Hossack, young guys like Brett Dobson between the pipes, to continue building that chemistry in the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we've talked about it. This Canadian team and a lot of these guys have played a lot of lacrosse already this year, going deep into June, the early part of June with the NLL playoffs. So now jumping into the field game, it's going to take them a while to really flip the switch in their brains about offensive strategies in field and defensive strategies and schematics. So an excellent opportunity here for them just to continue to work on the process.
Latrell Harris dispossessed Sean Goldsmith, but is called going over the head, and England will have possession. Yeah, you mentioned just how much lacrosse these guys have played. Most of them have been playing since December, almost nonstop.
Yeah, you know, you go back even further, training camps in late October, early November, and the guys that played all the way through, whether it's the PLL, the Canadian Summers, and the NLL, lacrosse really is starting to become an all year round thing for some of these guys, which is great, but it is very grueling on the body.
England pulled within 4 a couple of moments ago on Sean Goldsmith's second goal of the game. Christian Scarpello scored the lone tally against the U.S. Now Watson moves it for Bickerton, who's getting his first real run of the tournament tonight. Showing some faith in him to run the X position, be creative behind the goal. Dodges underneath, Bickerton scores! And boy, does that mean something to him, given his family's history in this event.
The young man out of Manchester, you said, hasn't seen a lot of action in this tournament. But the English allowing their guys to get some different runs. Then just an excellent work. Gets underneath Latrell Harris, goes airborne and beats Brett Dobson. An incredible individual effort there from Andrew Baxter. And again, the English sticking around, keeping themselves in this game. The longer it goes, the closer they are, the more confidence they will have. Let's see the response from the Canadians.
Drew Bickerton played for the U20 national team last summer in Limerick. His grandfather Hector played in 4 senior men's world championship tournaments for England. Now he gets his first taste and has his first tally. Second consecutive face-off that we've seen tied up at the X. Ignacio wrestling with Sam Dexter.
And you can see both guys just trying to find the clamp. Finally, Ignacio does, but that is just constant pressure with that top hand. And you can hear the excitement from not only the English players, but their fan base as well. There is life in the Lions.
And here they come. Hugo Peel off of a face dodge. Step down. Goldsmith into the stick of Brett Dobson.
It's a good look from Goldsmith off the extra swing pass. Wide open look. You got to take it if it's there.
Now Canada gets the stop and now can get into their offense with Connor Fields sticking on to run some attack this shift. A new wrinkle for Canada as he's run primarily out of the box as a midfielder.
Yeah, and again, just trying to find different matchups. Now they run Josh Byrne out of the box, trying to get a short stick matchup. The English are able to get the switch, but nice wrinkles by this Canadian coaching staff. Again, just trying to find different ways to get guys open and see who can work where. And if Dane's going to get the matchup and Byrne has the pull, watch for off-field cutters and diagonal passes.
One of the best passers in the world, Dane Smith. Two-man game with Curtis Dixon. 9 points coming into the night. Dixon gets some space. One more pass, and Byrne gathered in by Baxter. Trading saves on each end of the field.
Yeah, the Canadians off that high swing from Curtis Dixon. He had a cutter going through the middle. I believe it was Clark Peterson. He didn't see him, ends up giving it to Josh Byrne, who let the cannon go. But the Canadians are finally getting cutters. Now they just got to get their eyes up to see them.
Scarpello floats it into Nick DiCaprio, and England going in a hurry. Cam Major met by Latrell Harris. But the Lions can settle with the clock at 3:45 to go in the third. They have made this a game. Sean Goldsmith and Drew Bickerton, back-to-back goals for the English in red. Now Watson racing over goal line extended and misfires on his pass to DiCaprio.
Yeah, an unforced error there for England. They started to have some momentum. You can't give free possessions back to this Canadian team. It'll make you pay.
And our officiating crew saying that Canada went a little bit early this time before the whistle was blown.
Yeah, everybody has been wanting faster restarts on the whistles during this tournament. And sometimes the officials just pulling guys back, making sure the defense is set and the field is set numbers-wise. But I would like to see some more faster whistles and quick restarts.
Dane Smith back behind the net. Feed backside. Byrne tallies his third.
Textbook swinging through X offense from the Canadians. It all starts from the wing dodge with Dane Smith, runs through X, gets the swing through Connor Fields, and then the backside cut from Josh Byrne, and he's wide open. That is textbook Matt Brown run offense. And it's just the backside cut from Josh Byrne, the English unable to communicate through the switch. And if you're going to leave Josh Byrne that wide open, expect to be picking out of the back of your net.
That's just a theme up and down the Canadian roster, how good they are as shooters. Just about every guy on the field can pick a tuna can out of the corner on a moment's notice.
I was talking with Joe Beninati about this the other day, about why Canadians are such good shooters. Well, they grow up shooting on 4x4 nets, so the area is that much smaller that they have to be precise. And plus, the goalies wear massive padding, as everybody knows. They're not huge behemoths anymore. They are incredibly athletic goaltenders who just happen to cover a lot of net, and you have to be able to find those small lanes. And now you add 2 more feet, it's easy days for the Canadians sometimes.
Yeah, John Danowski, the head coach for the U.S., commented on that exact thing, right? They come from 4x4, you give them 6x6, and they find a way to fill it up. Fields forcing it in to Curtis Dixon, and the pass kicks out of bounds.
That's another, again, initiating with the dodge, getting cutters at the same time off the backside so that everybody's eyes are at the guy with possession, and then you have a backside look, but just didn't connect with Curtis Dixon.
England trying to hang into this one, 60 seconds to go in the third. Clearing has been an adventure at times for them as Canada's ride as aggressive as ever. And it'll be Pomfret trying to break across the midfield line, and does. But throws it away looking for Joseph Baythorpe. And the clearing adventure continues for the Lions.
Yeah, just a struggle there for England. They could have just, walked that one into the possession, but they are so urgent to try to get goals here, forcing it a little at times. And that was maybe a pass they didn't quite need to throw, could have pushed it up in transition. And again, another unforced error.
So Canada can hold the final possession. 15 seconds left in the third, but they also failed to connect.
A little sloppy from both teams here in the last parts of this third quarter.
10 seconds for England to go. Scarpello is going to be the guy, if anybody's going to initiate, trying to force it into Goldsmith. And the third quarter wraps up. The two sides trade goals in the third, 2 aside for Canada and England. The Lions hanging around here in the final game of Pool A play. It's 8-4 at the end of 3. Josh Byrne having a day. He's got 3 goals to pace the Canadians. But England laying some lumber, and Sean Goldsmith forcing his way to the cup. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. Start of the final 15 at Torero Stadium on a cool evening in San Diego. The last game in Pool A, Canada doubling up England 8-4. But don't let the score deceive you. The Lions have put up quite the fight, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, they've just stayed within this game. They've stuck to their game plan from Coach Scarpello and really given this Canadian team their full value. And the game's far from over. There's still lots to play. Anything can happen here in 15 minutes.
Brace Skirtle to the cup. Shot was blocked by Shumay, the former national champion at RIT. Shot backed up and stays with England.
That was a good job by Shumay stepping into the lane as the faceoff man just continued to run right down the pipe. Great look for England right off the opening fourth quarter faceoff.
So England will get into their offense, working through Sean Goldsmith on the wing. He's led them with 2 goals and is probably their most dangerous scorer. Around the perimeter, Pomfret for Collins, making his second appearance in the World Championships. And now Bickerton, who's been a little bit of a lightning rod for them off the bench. Scored his first tournament goal. Hadn't seen him hardly at all until tonight. Now Scarpello, an alley dodge. shadowed by Wilson. And England, another unforced error, something we've seen a couple of times in the second half.
We talked about Scarpello playing, his regular, more comfortable defensive midi position that he plays for the Water Dogs in the PLL. At Rutgers, he had 121 loose balls and 42 caused turnovers in his career. Like, this guy is an incredible defensive midfielder, but just because the lack of offensive weapons, he's been forced to kind of play attack. And he's done a great job. He had an incredible game in the first couple nights, but he's slowly tailed off as this tournament has gone on. And I would like to see him maybe do a little bit more as this tournament goes on for England in the championship rounds.
You have your wish right now. He's back on defense for England, wearing that 50 in red. Canada gets their last substitution on as Clark Peterson, the late man, comes trotting in. Peterson had a nice season for the Halifax Thunderbirds in the NLL. Now Smith, the goal and an assist tonight for Dixon, who has been uncharacteristically quiet after back-to-back great nights for Canada. Smith into the middle for Peterson.
It is kind of understandable. After you score 5 goals in 2 games, teams are going to be like, okay, yeah, Curtis Dixon, he's still good at lacrosse. Maybe we should pay a little more attention to him and put a better matchup on. So, when we watched him play against the Americans, he was a little slow. He wasn't really tuned in to the world game. He was a little step behind some of those American defenders, but he's really started to find his feet here as this as the round robin has gone on. Expect him to be incredibly dangerous when we get to the next round, because they're going to need him to score goals as we get deeper into this tournament.
Imagine being a defense, realizing you have to adjust to cover the 2-time all-world guy.
Yeah, but it's just, again, we go back to the pick your poison. Do you want to put your best long pole on a former 2-time world team member, or do you want to cover Jeff Teat, or do you want to cover Josh Byrne, or do you want to cover Dyson Williams? It's not easy. Not every team has the depth at long pole like the Americans or like the Haudenosaunee do. So it's tough for some of these matchups with these other nations, but England's done a pretty good job on them right now. It's here tonight.
England's defense, led by Dan Smith, Andrew Baxter, Tommy Kirkland, really has been good tonight. Their offense looking for a spark with the clock at under 11 and a half. Dexter hesitates, races to the middle. Hilditch uncorks a high shot. And Dobson, I should say, the closest man as it goes out.
For the longest time, one of the knocks on the Canadian field players were they didn't have NCAA experience. Now, every year, hundreds of Canadians are going south of the border. The next step for all these other nations is to get their top players coming over to North America and playing in the NCAA, whether it be Division I, Division II, or Division III. Playing club ball back home is great. You're going to find some incredible competition, but it's not until you get to the best of the best where you will see your game go off to another level. Look what Jamaica's doing. The amount of talent they have that plays in the NCAA just goes to show with their success here in this tournament.
Josh Byrne working on a hat trick tonight. Shadowed by Christian Scarpello, now playing both ways for Team England. Final game of Pool A, Canada in white, England in red. What a shot by Dyson Williams. My goodness.
So quote our good friend Pat Gregoire, he went bar Mexico. What a shot from Dyson Williams. Elevator goes up, low to high, bar down. But this just all started off the patience from Josh Byrne. The double comes, the switch comes, and then Dyson Williams says, how you doing? And he gets his second of the night. We talk about Canadians needing guys to start scoring goals and be effective. If Dyson Williams can get going, that's a scary proposition moving forward.
How much fun is it adding intrigue to this USA-Canada equation? The two Duke teammates, Brandon O'Neill and Dyson Williams, aren't just playing for their respective national teams. They're playing very major roles.
Yeah, and their first time playing at the men's national level. They've both been under 21 stars, under 19 stars. They've been stars throughout their college careers and high school careers. This is just awesome to see the future of this game on full display here during this tournament. And Brennan O'Neill and Dyson Williams are just two of the names that you're going to see probably going fairly high in both the PLL and NLL drafts coming up.
Canada back up by 5, comfortable to let the clock run under 9 minutes.
Let's just think this Canadian team is missing Owen Grant on the back line, one of the best defenders in the NCAA at the University of Delaware. He hurt himself in the PLL just weeks before this tournament started. If they had him, it would be an even nastier group of long poles.
Another look for Dixon, and he draws the foul.
You can see Dixon a little slow to get up.
You know, he plays with just such a reckless abandon about his body. Drawing penalties is a skill, and Curtis Dixon has it in droves.
Yeah, he's not afraid to get to the middle of the floor, and sometimes you see with these star players, they stick to one thing. Curtis can dodge inside and dodge outside, but he's almost better after first contact. You think of yards after the catch in the NFL, a stat that all these coaches love from receivers, what you can do after first contact. Curtis Dixon, after first contact, only gets stronger, and sometimes that's where he's at his most lethal.
Looking for Jeff Teed on the cut. And Canada called in the crease. England calls, as we'll step aside here for one final time. Canada in control, 9-4 in the finale of pool play. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. At 87 years old, we still see the world with the wonder of new eyes, helping you discover untapped possibilities and relentlessly working with you to make them real. Old school grit, new world ideas, Morgan Stanley.
Kids grow up, and it goes by fast. At Rady Children's, we're growing up too, always looking for answers and new and better ways to care for your kids.
That's true.
Researching, innovating, breaking ground. As they soar to new heights,
Ignition.
We're ready for takeoff too.
Lift off.
Canada one shy of matching their high goal total of the tournament, more than doubling up England with less than half of the final quarter to go. Plenty more action to come. If you at home want to watch on your television set, you have plenty of opportunities to do so. ESPNU and ESPN2, the home of the semifinals and medal games for the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, presented by Rady Children's Hospital, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Rest of the games on ESPN Plus, where you're watching right now. Be sure to join us for all the coverage of the remaining portion of the 107 total games. A Herculean task for our production crews to cover. We thank them for their excellent and tireless work as England starts with possession out of the timeout.
14th World Championship, and these two teams have been in all of them, dating back to 1967 with the first one in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Canada has won it 3 times in 78, 06, and 14. And the English have finished 4th 7 times, but unfortunately, it's kind of looking like this might be one of their poorest finishes at a World Championships, going winless in group play.
Yeah, they have finished 5th in 5 straight World Championship tournaments. Canada in an unsettled moment. Dixon will float his way into space and put on the brakes, recognizing the situation. For Canada, they're trying to prevent the U.S. from becoming the first repeat champion in more than 2 decades, as those two countries have traded gold medals the last few times. Dyson Williams, a couple of goals for Canada tonight. One of 3 multi-goal scorers, along with Ryan Lee and Josh Burns' hat trick. Connor Fields had his first goal of the tournament last night against the Haudenosaunee in what was a rousing game here at Torero Stadium. Backing his way down, posting up and sweeping. When he drops that stick head, you just hold your breath for a second, knowing you can let it go at any time.
Yeah, he has such good release.
Here he is, stings the far side.
Many people might be saying, Connor Fields, wait, he's from Buffalo. Why is he playing for Team Canada? Well, his dad is from Buffalo. His mom is Canadian. And when he got the call, said, hey, you got dual. You want to come rock the red and white? He was like, you know what? I think I'm in. He wasn't going to make the American team. He's got a lot of connections with this Canadian team, and he is fit right in. And you talked about his season with the Rochester Nighthawks. He was a former Buffalo Bandit, left unprotected, picked up by Las Vegas, flipped to Rochester, and he came out of the gate flying.
Played his rookie season here in San Diego.
True story.
Part of the Seals organization.
Look at us going full circle.
Closing the circle on Connor Fields. Star at Albany. Got to play against his Albany teammates last night. Lyle Thompson. And a great ride by England gets them possession, trailing by 6 with under 5 to go.
Yeah, that was Tom Bracegirdle putting the pressure on Ignacio right along the sidelines. And Ignacio's just got to understand, just keep running to space. Don't put yourself in coffin corner, attacked by the center line and the sideline. Run to space, but a good job by the English team to get this ball back. Even though they are down 6, we talked about off the start, they will never give up.
Them and the Australians have been so impressive with the way they've fought, particularly when down. I mean, these two teams give nothing. It is all earned against Australia and England. And it'll be really interesting to watch them match up against teams from other pools starting tomorrow. You know, England's going to play against Puerto Rico. I think it's the Netherlands for Australia.
Yeah, and we got the Haudenosaunee,
Hong Kong, China.
Playing Hong Kong, China. So there are some intriguing matchups. And don't think just because these teams are coming from the lower divisions, it's going to be a cakewalk for these A-pool teams. Trust me, Japan is a wagon, and they would give anybody in Pool A a run for their money.
I think Italy's kind of a sneaky wagon in their own way. They can win face-offs against just about anybody, given their duo of Zach Cole and Will Vitelli. Hilditch bodying his way into the middle. Bickerton, a nice surprise for Pat Scarpello tonight. You know, you try and find different pieces. You try different things out in a game like this. You hope you find a guy like Drew Bickerton. He's going to be a weapon for them going forward. Yeah,
Bickerton showed some nice skills here as this game is going on. He scored 1 goal earlier off a great dodge from X, and that time he was able to get Patrick Schumann his back foot on the roll dodge and then the roll back, but just unable to finish. But, you know, this is a great opportunity for Coach Scarpello to see who's got the jam moving forward, who wants to be in these big moment situations.
They're going to go right to prep for Puerto Rico as soon as the game is over. They got their pizzas already ordered. They're going to sit down, talk about what happened tonight, and then go right into film work. Dexter squares up on Latrell Harris and wipes out.
They're going to call Latrell Harris on a hold. I'm not sure how you can hold a guy. Maybe he was holding him from falling down.
Giving him a hug.
Trying to just brace his fall. But nonetheless, English will take possession.
And Dobson picking cherries out of the air.
Yeah, that was maybe his easiest save of the night, right into the stick. But again, a good initiation off the dodge from the English attackman, but just unable to put a good shot on target.
Credit to Mike Pomfret still for getting one away on the alley dodge. Final 120 seconds. Canada is going to be 3-1 in pool play when this is over. England will have gone winless in pool play in a disappointing run for them. You know, they'd never beaten any of the teams involved. I mean, they had beaten Australia. It looked like they might in their opener. But still, Canada steered away by Baxter.
Yeah, that was his best save of the night. Followed the shot all the way through, release. But you talked about that game against Australia. England was up 3-0 in that game, only to have Australia score 8 straight.
They've just given up huge runs in this tournament. They gave up runs of 4 and 2 6-goal runs to the Haudenosaunee. Of course, the U.S. led 16-0 last night. They call a timeout here and chat things over with 1:14 to go. If you're Pat Scarpello's team, we've seen them take some steps tonight, but cutting off the runs has to be a priority. They've done a pretty good job tonight. Canada, 4-0, their biggest run. They're on a 3-0 tally right now, but if they can keep those to 3 or less when the dam starts to burst, they're going to be in more games.
Yeah, and I think the way you can do that is by winning faceoffs and by winning the little battles when the ball is on the turf. If you're not winning those extra possessions, it is going to be a long night. And the best way to stop a run of a team is to get possession back, control the clock, and make sure you're getting good shooting opportunities. Because if you're just going through the motions and you have a 2-minute possession and don't get a shot off, you haven't really done much to change the momentum when Canada can come down the other way and bury 2 in a row in your own net. So it's all about possession, but it's all about creating good scoring opportunities to silence those runs. And if they can do that, if they can find some runs of their own, this is a much different story. We talked about they were out 3-0 against the Australians only to give up a big run. And if you can't find a way to change momentum back in your favor in any way, whether it's a ground ball, a goal, a big hit, or a big defensive play, it is going to be a long night.
And to your point, Pat Scarpello told me before the game that one area he thinks they've improved in, they still haven't been great, but they've improved in their faceoffs. So there's reason for them to feel good going forward. You see Pat Scarpello in his first World Championship tournament as the head coach of England. He'd previously been the head man for Bermuda 5 years ago, but took on a tough task trying to coach this national team from overseas here domestically in the U.S., just making a couple of trips back there, mostly having his assistants run the program. It's just a frenetic managerial process for some of these national teams, and for Scarpello, a lot of it for this is trying to keep things together and keep these guys feeling good about what their program looks like and overcome adversity.
With a double team with Dobson out of the net again, late in the game, up 6, still trying to throw some wrinkles and work on some things are the Canadians. But the comment you made about, keeping this English team intact, they're primarily English-born players. In years past, we've seen a lot of North American passport-holding players play for this English team. And when you look at some of the other teams in this tournament, a lot of people are saying, how come this team isn't doing so well? Or how come this team is so talented? A lot of it comes from guys who are North American-born or North American-educated and raised playing for their national team. When you see an English team that is all English-born players, that's great for the growth of the game in England.
Final 23 seconds. And to your point, there are different philosophies by different teams. Fields gets a gimme and puts it away. Second for Connor Fields, and an exclamation point for Canada as they produce their highest goal-scoring total of the tournament with an 11-goal outpouring.
And that kind of blows my mind when we talked about how this Canadian team still hasn't played their best lacrosse left. 11 in an international field lacrosse game is their highest of 4 games. That is crazy to think when you think of the talent that they have through the midfield and through their attacking 5, that they haven't been able to put up more. That just goes to show how good these games have been in this Pool A.
Some of that comes down to the pace of these games as well, right? The international rules does change things. We're getting a lot of games that are tighter for longer. We saw that a bit tonight. England hung around 6-2 at halftime, pulled to 7-4 at one point in the third. And final 5 seconds here.
Canada will play the winner of Italy versus Jamaica in the quarterfinals. And if you haven't seen the Jamaicans or you haven't seen the Italians play, it will be an exciting game tomorrow from San Diego State University.
It goes final here at USD. Canada beats England 11-4. They finish Pool A 3-1 in second place. England goes winless in pool play. They finish 5th. For the Lions, they're back in action tomorrow as they'll play Puerto Rico in the 5 versus 12 matchup. For England, they get a day off before they're back Again, as you said, against the winner of Italy and Jamaica. One final time for Teddy Jenner and our fantastic production crew. I'm Cooper Perkins signing off from the University of San Diego. You've been watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship Tournament. Continue to follow our coverage on the ESPN family of networks. The action is just heating up.